page 311. Okay, we're holding Yud Zayin. Just start it over again. Minig Kol Yisrael. Yeah, that's interesting. Normally, Mechaber says Minig Yisrael. It's the custom of Jews. Minig Kol Yisrael. You know what he says? It's the minig of all Jews. This is, something you have. Ashkenazim, this type of Sephardi, that Sephardi, different types. Minig Kol Yisrael Shakore Kore Uposhet Ki Geras Laris Hanes. Every Balkore, when they read the Megillah, they unravel it and they arrange it similar to a letter to display the miracle, because the Megillah is called Igeris. And when they complete it, when they complete the reading, they re-roll it, and only in its rolled state they say the bracha after the Kriyas Megillah. Okay, let's see the Mishna Berura. But the listeners who listen, although they're reading from a Megillah, they're listening and they're following in a Megillah, or they're reading it themselves, ain't Shich Lifshot. This is only when it's done with Tzibur. In a Tzibur, because again, the whole concept is, it's to display the what? The miracle. Laharos on this. What's the whole idea? To display. Display is only in the context of a Tzibur, in a public setting. So when you read it for a Tzibur, there's no Isser. Let's say one person's reading for 3 people. There's no Isser if you want to open it and fold it like a letter. It's not a problem. But the whole concept of Pesumim Isa is what? Is when it's Laharos. Laharos is always in the context of the Tzibur. Uposhet Ki Geras Harish Uposhet Kulo Ve'ena Menicha Krucha. Elakofel Osa Daf al Daf. You fold it, each so many sections on one on the Yizor Shlo Yigre'el Al Gabi Karka. Okay, this is important. This I always say the point. You ever see people when they put on the tefillin and take them off, they let the straps hang on the ground, fall to the ground. They have a table and then just not careful. Well, some people when they put on that tefillin, they want the straps to be. This is, and I'm not exaggerating this. They'll undo it, they'll throw it down the table. And see, you expect that behavior from a teenager. Teenager, he has his tefillin and it looks like in an ammunition case. He just came back from Israel. He bought it from, in some souvenir shop. This tefillin. But an adult, that's the way you open your tefillin, you throw it down the table. The Gemara says that the ritzuos, the straps are tashmishi kedusha. They have the kedusha of the bayis. You have to bury it. If they become not usable, they have to be buried. And to leave it on the ground. It's bad enough, tzitzis. Tzitzis is tashmishi mitzvah. Person has the tzitzis on the floor. Person wears his tzitzis, they let it hang on the floor, touching the floor. It's not respectful. You should pick it up. But the straps of tefillin, even more so, because that's tashmishi kedusha. People sometimes they're not careful, and the Megillah it unravels and it actually touches the ground. So he says, Yizor Shli Grel Gabi Karka. When you open it, it shouldn't fall to the ground. V'ayim Pri Megorim Shkos Lavdavka Gabi Karka. Huadlin Pluya Ala Shulchan Ushtender. This also it's not respectful. The Gemara in Shabbos speaks about a case, the Gemara in Eruvin, that a person has a Sefer Torah on a rooftop, and it unravels and it falls down. It's hanging on the wall. And it's, let's say, within Dalet Amos, it's below 10 Tvochim in Rosh Hashanah. Do you retrieve it? Right? Do you bring it back? Or you just leave it? You just let it hang? So it says, out of respect, you don't bring it back, but you turn it over that the writing should face the wall. The writing shouldn't be outward. It should face the wall. That's respectful. Because the whole discussion was, you bring it back, we're afraid. What happens if the bottom actually touches the ground? See, if it's just suspended, so that's not called hanocha. But what happens if it touches the ground? That's called hanocha. So you're actually retrieving it from Rosh Hashanah into Rosh Hashanah. If it's above 10 tefachim, that's called abi p'tur. That's Shabbos. Shabbos. So it's a question of transporting from public domain.
When you find a fixed on the field.
That's because you put it on.
Right, you put it on.
Yeah, but Sefer Torah, you don't put it on. There it's a question of wearing. There it's you wearing. You put it on, so you're wearing it. So derech malbush, you permit it. It's not called transporting. But retrieving something, drawing it in, that's called transporting. So he says, so what happens if you have it on the shtender or on the table, and it's hanging over, it's not touching the floor. it's not respectful for the parchment just to hang over. It's not respectful. It says shetlui al shulchan ustender nami habi gnai kisvi hakodesh. It's gnai. It's not respectful. Od kosha apshitu yekodim shemaschu levorich. That when you unfold the Megillah to be read, it should be already folded like the Igeris even before you say the bracha. Because again, the bracha is over l'sayoson. It always precedes the mitzvah. So when you're about to do the mitzvah, what is the state, the proper state of the mitzvah? It's already folded as the letter, as the Igeris. Kedei shelo yehefsik be bracha l'kriya. He'll discuss that in a moment. And when you're finished, before you say the bracha, you should roll it closed. He says vatam. He's giving the reason. Because factually, you finish the mitzvah, it should be put away. Yeah? You just because it's the whole concept, it's finished. The Megillah is finished reading. What's the indication it's finished? It's rolled up, it's put away. Now you say the bracha. The kol rom. Okay, let's see the Ramah. The Gemara tells us that you're able to evaluate a person b'kiso b'koso b'kaso. Famous Gemara, right? Kiso through his pocketbook, the way he drinks wine, and the way he gets angry. You look at these three areas, you have a person evaluated. How he spends, for what does he spend his money? The kiso. Is he a miser? Is he generous? And for what does he spend? What doesn't he spend? How he drinks. If he drinks, he sips the wine in a daintily way, then he's a balgaiva. He just drinks it down in one gulp, he's a glutton. If he drinks it normally, then he's an ordinary person. Kaso. When does he get angry? How often does he get angry? For what does he get angry? You look at these three areas, you have a person pretty much evaluated. Okay? So I'm just saying there are many ways to see a person, his behavior, how does a person treat Kisvi Kodesh? It hangs over. It's like when we were in the time life, we had different kind of chairs. Mincha person comes in early, puts his foot on the chair, ties his shoe. Ties his shoe on the chair. It wasn't wood, it was a padded chair with material, upholstered. So I went over, I said, let me ask a question. If you could be in your own home, would you put your foot on the chair, on the furniture in your house, and tie your shoe on the chair? Would you do it? He says, no. So I said, what are you putting your foot on the chair? It just shows a certain disregard. It's not mine, it's irrelevant. It's mine, it's a whole different story. Seeing a person's behavior, you're able to evaluate immediately. Hangs over. Do you dress impeccably? The Megillah hangs over, this, that. The person wears a pair of tefillin. They haven't been painted for 25 years. The black already, it's fading. Why don't you have it painted? You pay $5. You pay $5 for a shoe shine. Make sure your shoes are shining. $11. But tefillin, they're what? They're worn out. They're chipped. They're this. It's okay. What do you mean it's okay? You don't think it should be minimally that? Same idea. It shows, where the chashivas, what do you value, what don't you value. These are all indicators. The four psukim which indicate geula, we read out loud. Tani Ishudi, Mordechai Yotzo, Lahuda Moisa Or V'Simcho, Ki Mordechai Yehudi, Chei Nogim Mibdinus Elu, V'Chazan Chosi V'Koriosan. That after the tzibur reads these psukim, the Chazan rereads them. Od Kosu Shenogu Hatirogo. So before we go further, let's see Mishna Berura. B'Kol Rom, B'Shum Simcho. Why does the Chazan reread those psukim? Gidei lashmiya latzibur. So the tzibur should hear mitzvah lachatchil lishmoa kol hamegillah b'toch haksav, because most people, they don't have a kosher megillah, so when they read it themselves, it's koral peh. So koral peh, where it's the minority, is what you say that's a b'diavad. Lachatchil, you're supposed to read it from the text of the megillah. So therefore, by rereading it, so we have shomea koneh on all aspects of the megillah. So therefore, he rereads it for that reason. Okay? Further in the Ramah, Od kosher noga tinoks lotza tzuras homon al eitzim vavonim. Children, they write, they draw a depiction of homon, either on stones or on wood. Olichtov shem homon aleim, or they write his name homon. Ulakosem zelzeh, and then they bang it together. Kedei shimoch shmo, to obliterate it. By banging it together, rubbing it together, obliterates the name. Al derech mochot timche ezecha Amalek, to obliterate the memory of Amalek. V'shem Rishon Yirkav, Posek Nishlei, the names of the evil should rot. He says from this custom, another custom has emanated. Shemakim homon kishekoren hamigil beiskaras. This is why when they hear homon, people they bang. Vein lavato shuminog, a person should not in any way nullify this custom, or lilo golov, or to deprecate it, kilo lechinim hukvu, because it was not established for no reason. It's quoting the Beis Yosef. The minog is an important minog. Mishna Berura, shemakim homon, maril lo yochoshesh lako someone. He says the maril did not, when they said homon, he did not bang for homon. Vagon yaivitz kosev al ovi vachochem tzchachem tzvi sho yemakev rokei a beraglo. Here, he would bang and he would stamp his foot when they would say homon. V'tofech besandolo shegil l'schiras homon. When they would say homon, he would bang and he would stamp his foot for homon. Primagor kosev yotzes chorm hefseidom shvavun habe. He says, however, even though it has value, but since people it becomes uncontrolled, people become confused. So therefore, the value the loss overrides the value. Not if people don't hear the words. Remember, many years ago, Rav Moshe Feinstein said, Tzaddik Baruch, he had a son-in-law. His name was Rav Moshe Shishkal, Sefer Tzaddik Baruch. Son-in-law was when I say a malach, he was like an angel. He was 50. He was a Rashiva in Torah V'das. He basically came over. He was a young boy from Europe. He was educated here. Rabbi Aaron Kotler loved him. He was a genius beyond, but he was so humble the way he behaved. He acted as if he knew nothing, other than what he said to shir. But he would not display any of his genius ever. And he was a holy man, very holy. He passed away on the day that he was born. He was 52 years old when he passed away, this day that he was born. And his name was Moshe became ill after he passed away. That's when Moshe's health began to decline, after he passed away. So he had a shul on the Lower East Side. It was his father's shul. And he only took over the shul out of respect for his father. It wasn't for financial reasons. It wasn't his father. His father was a Rav. His father was Rav Moshe Feinstein. He was a Rashiva. But his father was a Rav in the shul on the Lower East Side. The average age in the shul was 75 and above. Old people. It wasn't for one. He purely did it out of respect for his father and concern for these old people, because otherwise the shul would close. These people have nowhere to go, or whatever. So he would read the Megillah there. So when he was a little boy, he used to hear the Megillah. Because my father, Rav Shalom, had a close relationship with him, and he was always concerned. And he would read the Megillah, and he would articulate every word. And he would always be concerned that everybody hears every letter of every word, because if you don't hear the full word, you're not Yotzei. So when you come to Haman, the children would start banging, making noise. So he's always concerned that they didn't hear Haman correctly. So he would repeat the word Haman. So they would bang again. It was never-ending situation. But it was, and his level of sincerity and purity was amazing, amazing. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the story of banging for Haman. Shekorna Migil Beis HaKnesses Samach. Tzor Chazan Lishtok Oz Kishemak Beis HaMaknes Kedishishmu Kulam Kriyosov. He said, Chazan, when they bang, he should remain silent. He shouldn't continue further, because the people have to hear, even though he may be in a rush. He says, and they bang many times, even when he repeats it again, because he's concerned that maybe they didn't hear the word pronounced fully. Hear this? To cover yourself, when they're making all the noise, you should read a little bit ahead, because the Balkori may continue, and you may not actually hear the word. So at least if you read it in the Chumash, so it's no worse than what reading it by heart. Because even if you don't hear the upcoming few words from the Chazan Yotze, when you read it from the Chumash, everybody should have a Chumash during the reading of the Megillah for this reason. Because there may be a time that you may have to read ahead a little bit, because the Chazan, the Balkori may start reading, and because there's noise, you don't hear the words. At least you read the words, so you're going to be covered. To cover yourself, that any word that you don't hear from the Balkori, minimally, he's quoted citing the Mogen Avram, at least you would have read it from the Chumash, from the text. It's interesting, most people, if you speak to them, even Jews who are not observant today, what do they recall from their childhood? It's not the sterile Judaism, the functioning Judaism. It was the Seder, it was the feeling, it was the Bubby and the Zaidi. They're not real observant. They don't even keep dietary laws, but there's certain fond memories that they remember. So what do you recall? No banging during Homa. I mean, what recollections do people have later in life from their childhoods? Fond memories of their Yiddishkeit. These are the things. But no banging, you go, read it, for functioning, and get it over with. You went, years ago, as I said, you went to an Ufruf. They would throw bags and candy. It was a time of simcha. It was a joyous moment. You went to a shul. We don't throw. We don't, keep the kids under control. Children have to be kept in their place. So the whole feeling of, children not wanted here. It's that kind of thing. So if that's the case, there are no fond memories of childhood. Go to shul. Was it a pleasant experience for kids? One time it was a pleasant experience. They went and they welcomed, and they put up with him. They tolerated, even though it wasn't a perfect situation. But that's the reason why years later this kept people instead. At least they came back, to say Kaddish when their parents passed away, because it was a place. There were fond memories to come back to that location. But if even that wasn't there, then they're not coming back for that reason. Once told over a story. Many years ago, there was I used to say a shir at somebody's office in Ramchal. So there was a person, he was a television producer, and there was a series on public TV. It was called Genesis. It was to discuss the stories of Bereshis, the stories of the Avos, patriarchs, the matriarchs, family setting, and it was a panel of a rabbi, a conservative Reform rabbi, a nun, a psychologist, and a psychotherapist. Yeah, that's the panel. And they discussed the various, the stories, the relationship, spousal relationships, sibling rivalry, all this. It was a series of, I think, seven programs, 7 weeks, and he produced this. So he came to the class, and he came a little bit early. His name was Mr. White. So it was, he knew he was drawn to it because it was a semi-Kabbalistic class. So he walks into the class. Before anybody was there, I was there already. So I said to him, "You're Mr. White?" So he got a little nervous. "How do you know I'm Mr. White?" Must be have some kind of Kabbalistic powers. How do I know it's Mr. White? So he says, "How do you know I'm Mr. White?" I said, "Look, I know everybody who comes to the class, and I knew there was a Mr. White supposed to come, so I figured you're Mr. White. That's how I knew you were Mr. White." So he sits down, and he says to me, he says, he's a Jew, and to him, whether you're a Jew, a non-Jew, Caucasian, Oriental, black, it's all the same. No difference. A human being's a human being. And about 5 minutes later, he starts telling me how his nephew is dating a non-Jewish girl, and how much he's trying to convince her, his nephew, to break up the relationship. Yeah. So I said to him, he just finished telling me that, as long as a person is a good human being, it doesn't make a difference, Jew or not. I mean, so why trying to discourage this relationship between your nephew and this non-Jewish woman? He says, this, that, but you realize it's not the same, it's this. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, were your grandparents Orthodox? He says, Orthodox. He says, my grandfather was the president of a shul in the Bronx. He founded the shul. Every Friday night as children, we used to go to my grandmother's house and have gefilte fish and roast chicken. He says, I still could smell the fragrance of the food. This is recollection. So I said to him, I said, I'll tell you the difference between you and your nephew. I said, you had a grandfather. So you have certain feelings and memories of that. I said, your Judaism is in your gut, not in your head. Your nephew, unfortunately, he had a father similar to yourself. So you never really passed on any feeling about what Judaism is. So therefore, as much as you try to reason with your nephew, unless he understands that on his own, you're not going to impress him or discourage him. And that's what it's about. So I'm saying there's certain things are important to have in communities, banging the hum on, allowing certain things and being a little flexible to give the children a certain feeling, warmth, and feeling about what its value is, so they should continue, observing it and perpetuating it to be continued. Okay.